Hey fellow YouTubers, this is George here at Vinyl Rescue. Welcome to my channel. Got another little modification or a fix to my Rega Planar 2. Little problem we have is when you turn it on, and especially when you turn it off, you get a loud popping noise through the speakers. And I'm going to show it on a VM meter on my secondary computer system, what you're going to hear. So I'm going to turn it on. Okay, you hear a small pop and you see the blip there. Now when I turn it off, listen and watch. Nasty. Now, from what I read, they said it doesn't really damage your speakers or anything, but I find it most annoying, and I'm not sure if that's particularly true, that it doesn't hurt your speakers or your system in some way or another. You know, electrical popping is not good at all. So what we're going to do, I got these capacitors, got them from Mauser. They're 4700 PF, 250 volt. I was doing some research a couple months ago and came across this post on a forum on a Vinyl Engine, and this guy up in Canada, I do believe he's got an older one, so the pictures all pop up on the screen are from an older motor. The PCB for the motor, for your start and stop switch down underneath here, it goes to your motor. You put this in line for the two connections that goes to the switch, and it eliminates the static pop. I don't know if it's actually a static pop, but that's what it sounds like, a good loud static pop when you turn it. It's not so bad when you turn it on, but when you turn it off, you can really hear it. And the comment was, why did Rega makes these really nice turntables, but they can't put in like a 50-cent capacitor to get rid of the noise. So that's what I'm going to work on here. I'm going to show you how it's done, and hopefully I get the right connections. If not, we will learn and we'll get it done correctly with the capacitor. So some residual noise there. Anyway, so let's continue on here by flipping it over and opening it up and getting started. Alright, I got the turntable prepped. I just take the glass platter off and then take some blue tape here, tape down the sub platter, and I've got my bit ready because it takes one of these star bits to get the motor cover off. And I got my Lazy Susan set up, so I'll be back in a second. Alright, I'm going to open this up. Can't just yank it off because the PCB is actually attached here. So this is where the power cord gets plugged into. So got this little thing here. Got to push it so you can get this pulled out. You can put this off to the side. Now the instructions talks about 2 white lines, but there's no white lines here. Now the only 2, so this is going to be a bit of a trick here. trying to go by what they say. See, the PCB is different than the one that was on a Canadian model. I don't know if it's just an older model, because the PCB that they're showing is different than this. So, this gray line goes to the switch, and this other gray line here goes into the motor. So I'm not exactly sure. This may be just a matter of trial and error, because all it has is red and blue and gray for ground. Well, I don't know if it's actually ground, but I guess Rega does what they do, try to confuse the rest of us and working on the turntables. So I am going to solder in on the gray line here. It goes to the switch, and I will do the other to the red here, and we'll see what kind of results we get. So let me come back after I get everything prepped. I did test the capacitor just to make sure. Last thing I'm going to do is put one on and it doesn't test good, so there we go. We'll be back. Took some finagling, but I finally got it to where I can have my little tool here hold the resistor in place while I solder it in place. Alright. So what I'm going to do is put this all back together real quick and connect it up and see what kind of results we get. So hopefully we got the right wires fixed with the cap there. So let me take it apart and take this apart and cover it back on, and we'll give it a quick test. The way I installed it works out just great because it doesn't interfere with anything. And anyway, I was thinking I was going to have to bend it to be underneath, but that would be a tight squeeze. So this turned out just great. So it won't interfere with the motor because the motor hits against these two cushions here on the back side here. So we'll be good. So we'll be back once we get it connected up and give it a test. Alright, moment of truth. I've got this fired back up. So I'll make sure I got the volume up. Yep, here we go. So here's turning it on. Not much there. Damn! Well, guess we'll have to switch. On. Off. Okay. That wasn't the right one, so let's take it apart and try it on different connections in. Oh well, we tried. So trial and error here, because the PCB for the model sold in Canada, obviously it's an older one, because it doesn't even look like this, is different. So we're going to be doing some trial and error here. So let me go back to where I was. Alright, so we are going to unsolder from the red wire connector here. Let me get me some tweezers here. Alright, now we're going to position it to go to the blue wire. And we'll see if that fixes it or not. Let's see, let me get some. Get the right tool here. Making all this noise in the background. Okay. Okay, see here. All right. All right, there we go. Hopefully this does it. We will put this back together and we'll come back where we're getting ready to test it. Alright, we're back for test number 2. Let's see what happens here. I'm going to turn it on. That's not a good sign. Guess it'd help if I would turn. Okay, I'm going to turn it on. Turn it off. Yeah. We're still not getting the right one here. So maybe I'll do the red and blue wire connectors and see what happens there. So let's go for test number 3. Alright. This will be test number 3 coming up here. I've got their cap across the red and blue wires. Both of these do go to the motor, but not the switch. I'm not sure. I think the next test I'll do, maybe I'll have to run a wire from the other gray wire going to the switch and to this one, and see if that takes out the popping noise. But that'll be test number 4 if we get that far. So alright, I'm gonna put it back together and be back with test number 3. Alright, back for test number 3. I'm gonna turn it on. Oh, off. No change. Alright, we're going to have connections to the power switch. So let me see what I can finagle here. I might have to use a different. That's why I bought 5. And we say if you just need one resistor, buy a few extra just in case. So here we go. We'll be back. Alright, here's what I'm trying to do. I got one end of the cap soldered onto the gray wire coming from the switch. And I got it positioned where it'll be not underneath and not interfering with anything. And I'm going to solder in a wire to the other gray wire on the motor, and then trim it off and solder it onto this end and see if this will work for test number 4. So that's where I'm at right now. Where's my solder? Here we go. Come on. The wire is not cooperating with me. Alright. Got that on there. See, have to be halfway positioned in here to see where we're going to be at here, because I don't want too much wire. I can always double because it is coated, so I will snip off just a little bit extra here. Trying to position all this so I don't have to sit here and try to hold it. Oh. Give it a little bend here. Alright, solder time. Keep forgetting to turn my fan on, so I don't need to breathe this crap. Exactly the best solder, but get it to go in a little better here. Alright. Alright, hopefully you can see what I got here. Had to get a better connection there. Alright. So I'm going to untangle all this, tuck everything up underneath this, and come back for test number 4. And hopefully it's going to work, because I think the original post I saw was trying to run the cap between the two wires going to the switch, and this has just been trial and error. That's how we learn here. So anyway, I'll be right back for test number 4. Alright, here we are back for test number 4. I really hope this works, or I'm just wasting a lot of time here. Anyway, I'm going to power on. Oh, nice and quiet. See, it's on. Let's power it off. Oh, no more popping. Woohoo! Okay, Success. I was going to run out of ideas here. So, this will work. You have to put one end of the capacitor connector on the gray wire on the PCB and run an extra wire from the gray wire from the motor to the other end of the cap, like I've shown before I put this all back together. So it works. We will do it again. On, off. Nice and quiet. No more popping. What a relief. Okay. Test number 4 worked. So, anyway, that's how you fix it. I will put a link for these capacitors from Mouser down in the description. Turn my fan off here, all that extra noise. And if you like what you see here, please like, subscribe to my channel, and let me know what you think of the fix. I wish I could have done this a little bit quicker in this video, but I am not an electrical wizard, but I did get it fixed. I like to learn as I go. So anyway, this is my Rega Planar 2. The popping noise for the power switch has been fixed with a simple, cheap capacitor. So, on to the next video. Long live vinyl.